price of gasoline. It's interesting how, with the war going on in Iran, and it's the price of gasoline went through the roof. It went up 15 cents. And people are, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. Gasoline has gone up 15 cents a gallon and eggs are up. When you decide to have a paycheck to paycheck mentality versus a wealth mentality, the consequences are staggering in your life. And we, as people who paid attention to our money and decided to become wealthy, we end up having to pay more in taxes to supplement the people who are too casual about their finances. And that's what inflation is, when the government starts printing up money to help people to get money in their hands. It's a tax on everybody, because what happens is all inflation is government printing up money and watering down the value of a dollar. Dollar doesn't buy what it used to buy. Well, how come? I don't understand that. The answer is, when you have more money out there, dollars out there, each dollar is worth less because they printed up more dollars. People never, ever, they just assume inflation is just a way of life. No, it's predictable, and that's what governments do. And they have to tax the rich in order to pay for people more health care, more this, more that, because they haven't taken care of business. I've sat in too many homes where they're too casual about money. Credit card debt is acceptable. Hold on a second. Let me. That's why we have these meetings. Sorry, my sister. Anyway, I had to. When my sister calls, I got to do something about it. And anyway, that's why we have these meetings, to raise the consciousness level of thinking, and in making sure that we start making and accumulating money a priority when the rest of the world condemns you for it. There's more to life than making money. There's more to life than having money till you don't have any. And we see this all the time, where one woman can take care of 5 kids, but five kids can't take care of one woman as she ages, and they don't get her the medication. So we complain about this, complain about that, and if you have enough money, you don't complain about any of that stuff. So that's why you can pretty much tell. I'm reading a thing on Harvard. Within 5 minutes, I can tell people by talking to them if they have a money consciousness. I love it what he says in Think and Grow Rich. If you don't develop a money consciousness, a poverty consciousness will take over. And you're not going to like the results of it. And again, if you don't take care of your body, stop complaining about all the aches and the pains when you reach 65 and 70, because you didn't take care of it. If you park closest you can to the mall, so you don't have to walk, you take escalators, so you don't have to climb stairs. And then when you can't walk, you're mad. How can I can't walk? Your life is the consequences of your life are your consequences of the choices we make on a daily basis. Where to spend money? $7 for Starbucks. Well, I can take that $7 and I can invest it and put it in a mutual fund. We nickel and dime life to death. But if you have a priority, I'm going to have $1 million put away. Art Williams said it. I want to have $300,000 put away, so I can get 10% on my money. That's $30,000 a year back in 1968, Tim Trigg. So I can tell everybody to go stick it in their ear. Nobody's got control of me and my family for generations. That's what a wealth is. It's not greed and how much can you have and how much can... Pastors, they'll talk about money. Oh my God, money is bad, money is evil, but they never talk about credit cards being evil. They never talk about living paycheck to paycheck as being evil. That's why all these folks get to GoFundMe. I'm not talking about GoFundMe from a death standpoint, Tim. I'm talking about GoFundMe for everything. GoFundMe, help me out. Crowd sharing. I want to go on a wedding trip. Fund me. My daughter just opened up a new house. Let's buy her a bunch of stuff. Everybody pitch in. What? You see that difference there, Tim? And so that's why we've got to be on the bandwagon. Financial independence. Either you're financially independent or you're dependent financially. And you can't rely on your income, even if you're retired military. They can screw with your income because they have control. Inflation is controlling your income. And all inflation is the government prints out money to get to hand out to people. We got $36 trillion in debt. $36 trillion. That didn't happen accidentally. That was purposeful. Think about this. $36 trillion in debt, and they're paying 5%. That's $1.5 trillion a year just paying interest, right, Omar? I'm on my bandwagon, Omar. Look out.
It's a lot of money that they're wasting. They love to give it to all the other countries. They love to give it to illegal immigrants. They love to give it to other countries, and they don't give it to the American veterans and the people that have worked all their lives, put money into the system. They get $1,500 a month. And man, if that money would have just went into a mutual fund, would have just went into the S&P 500, that Social Security check would be $8,000 a month, $10,000 a month, not $1,500 a month. You can't rely on the government to do anything. Take care of yourself. Nobody's coming to save you.
That's why these communist countries, they're doing it for the people, but the leaders all live incredibly great lives.
Well, you look at the guy, the Ayatollah Khomeini, that just got obliterated. His net worth was $200 billion plus when he died. And then they named his kid the leader, and then he got obliterated, and then somebody else got named. If I was over there, I'd be like, don't name me leader. Please don't name me leader.
Omar, we're talking about secrets of the millionaire mind, but I'm going to make have you comment on that. But I'll never forget, we were at a meeting in Unicoi, Georgia. It's not the first meeting, but another one. And Art was pontificating, and he was just talking. And Larry Weidel got to the meeting because Bob Turley sent him money to pay for gas and food. He was living, barely existing in Primerica. A.L. Williams, right? We're all making money. Larry wasn't making any money. We got to say, well, what's wrong? And Art was talking, and I'll never forget because I was there. He was just talking, and he looked over at Larry and then stopped everything he was saying and said, Larry, you're just not money motivated, are you? And he continued. And Larry says, for an instant, I felt pride. I'm not one of those people that's all about money. But he realized Art was talking to him, and that was his issue. He wasn't money motivated. And in every month for the next 3 months, he doubled his income every month. And that mindset created the Larry Weidel hierarchy that we have today. Talk about that, Omar. And people have to ask the question, why am I not money motivated? Because I could look, and if you're an RVP not making at least $150,000, $200,000 a year, you're not money motivated. You're not. Stepping on toes there, Omar.
I mean,
You really step on toes, don't you, Omar?
I love to step on toes. Larry Weidels told me that story at least 100 times in all the years that I've known it. He wore it as a badge of courage or a badge of honor when Art told him, you're just not you're not money motivated. He said, that's right. I'm not one of those guys. And he was proud of it until he realized that Art meant it as a dig. And then he said, wait a minute, did you, and then he got it. And I think most people in the world have that attitude. Like I'm not money motivated. Money's not everything. It's not important. It's not the most important thing in the world. Oh, you know what? It's up there with oxygen. Okay. Is oxygen the most important thing in the world? You'd probably tell me God's more important than oxygen. Your wife's more important than oxygen. But without oxygen, you die. So it is up there with oxygen, right? You need it to do everything. My daughter,
let me interrupt you. People have heard that before, and they're smiling. They get the joke. They get the gist. They don't realize how deeply serious you are.
100%. 100%. Like, my daughter just got into Boston Conservatory, which is a top 8 Broadway musical program in the nation. And, it's $92,000 a year, right? Now, she said, Dad, it was really hard work, all the work I've done again. She says, but I don't even know how I could have done it if I was worried about how I would pay for it. I said, well, lucky you're my daughter. You don't have to worry about how it's getting paid for, right? It's getting paid for. By the way, they even offered her half scholarship. So even the rich guy gets a discount there, So, and we're still waiting on like 18 other schools, to respond, but the pressure is off because Olivia's like, I got in one of the big ones. I got in Boston Conservatory and everything. Like we're leaving tomorrow to Cabo San Lucas. We're going to do a week in Cabo with my daughter on her spring break. And then then Olivia flies home because she has to go back to school. And then we fly to Los Angeles, and Brady's flying to Los Angeles, and we're going to do a week with him. We're going to have to stuff her and do 2 weeks of spring break instead of one because our kids are at different schools. We have to suffer through living the lavish lifestyle because I wanted to be rich. I was not embarrassed. The words ever came out of my mouth, money's not important. I never said that. Even when I was poor, I never said that because I understood the relevance.
We can't afford it. If your children ever heard the words, we can't afford it.
My kids have never heard that. Never heard that. Now, one time we had to do like all these trips and I brought up the joke. I said, well, we'll just charter a jet. And Olivia's like, we could do that. I go, we can, but we're not going to, but we can do that, So they've never heard, neither has my wife. They've never heard we can't do that. Whenever my wife comes home and the school's having a project and my wife volunteers, honey, the school needs, I say, all right, here's my checkbook. Go ahead, just write them the check, She never had to hear no. And by the way, because of that, I've never had to hear no. If you know what I mean.
Woo!
So that's important too, by the way.
You're right. And, he says in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, comment on this, Omar, give me 5 minutes and I can predict your financial future for the rest of your life. How can that possibly be? What does he get in the first 5 minutes that predicts your financial future for the rest of
He could just ask you questions about your goals. He could ask you questions about your goals, your wants, your desires. I mean, I can ask people questions and in a couple minutes know, hey, what's your dream car? Oh, I never really thought thought about it. Okay, I know he's not money motivated, because if he was money motivated, he would know what it looks like. Where do you want to live? What's your dream house look like? What neighborhood do you want to live in? What places, do you want to travel? People that don't have big goals and are not money motivated do not spend the time thinking about those things. I used to rent a car at Value Rent-A-Car. I believe this is the reason they went out of business. But Value Rent-A-Car used to rent Lincoln Town Cars for $1.99 an hour. So when I was brand new in the business, I drove a jalopy car. It was really bad. So when I got an appointment, I would go to the airport, drop off my jalopy, rent the Lincoln Town Car, which at the time, Lincoln Town Car, Bill, you remember, those were like, the cat's meow. And I would go on appointments driving in a Lincoln Town Car. I would do that for multiple reasons. I did it for me, to start me thinking, this is the kind of car I deserve to drive. I don't deserve to drive a luxury car. And if I work hard enough, I could have a car like this. And I would they knew me, first name basis. I'd walk in a Value Rent-A-Car at the airport. They knew me. $1.99, Bill, for an hour of a Lincoln Town Car. One time, I had one where I drove a black one to the client's house, and then on the next visit, it was like a dark emerald green. And when the client walked out, he says, "Wasn't yours black last time?" I go, No. I was here later in the night. It just looked black. It was always green, And so I used to spend time like you did. You've told me 100 times that you used to drive around the neighborhoods that you wanted to live in, and you would look at the homes. And if there was an open house in a new development, I would always go right into the new development. I would never waste time looking at the smaller houses. Give me the two biggest plans. They're the ones I want to go see, because that's where I'm going to go live one day. So you could talk to people. You could hear them complaining and having no clear goals and just trying to get by. And that listen, even in Primerica, people do that. It's unbelievable. I have REPs that make $200,000 to $50 a year, $300, $400 a year. And man, they're just getting by, not because they're in debt, because their dreams are small, their wants are small, their desires are small. And I try to change that. I mean, every chance I get, Bill, I hammer them, because I want them to have more and have abundance.
I've done that my whole life. I've yet to have one do it.
I've done it my whole, yeah.
Once the software is installed, whenever it is, I've never, and I shouldn't say never, but rarely does anyone get out of that software program. You got to fight. Art Williams said, life won't give you what you want. Life will give you what you're willing to fight for. I can't tell you how many wives I've had when their husbands didn't want out of life what they wanted financially, and they had to sit there and suffer. It's kind of like your wife and children, and I'll just tell you, because obviously I'm the male of the family. It's like having your wife and children in jail, and I can get them out. I just got to work harder and longer.
And smarter. And smarter, right? Because a lot of guys in Primerica, they're working hard. They're just working on the wrong things. They're like working on their client base and client revisitations, and they're doing investments, and all that's great. But if you ain't working on recruiting, training, developing, building legs, building a base shop, growing a hierarchy, all that other stuff, it's a job. It is a job.
If your spouse is working and you're not working like a mad person to get them to stop working, that's for the first 5 minutes. It's got to be non-negotiable.
Yeah.
One of the things he talks about in there, becoming, and Art talked about this, what are your non-negotiables? What do you think he's talking about that financially? What are the non-negotiables in your life financially that you have to set? What are the borders? Non-negotiable. This is how my life is going to turn out. My wife is not going to work. My children won't have to take out student loans. I'm not living in this kind of. my talk about the non-negotiables that you made early on that caused you to have success.
My non-negotiables were number one, when I got married, my wife was never working a job. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand this. If you're at a position where your wife has to work a job because you just don't earn enough, there is nothing wrong with your wife chipping in for a little while, as long as you're working your butt off and it's your goal to get her out of the job. Okay. So, I've watched guys do this where they're making 50 grand a year in Primerica and they tell their wives to quit and then they go bankrupt because it was a dumb decision. Right. So it was a non-negotiable that our kids would go to private Christian schools. They did. It's a non-negotiable. They graduate college with zero debt. They will. It's a non-negotiable. They both get in a dream wedding. I don't care what it costs. They're going to remember that day. It's going to be a positive experience. They're going to be like, my dad gave me whatever I wanted. I want 200 doves released at whatever they want. I don't care, right? That's a non-negotiable. It was a non-negotiable that I live in a mansion. I always dream. Whoever dreams of living in a little house, come on. When you're a kid and the training wheels are off and you have no guardrails and you're dreaming about where to live and you're watching on television Robin Leach Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, they ought to bring that back. Robin Leach Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And I used to watch that show and I used to think, man, I want to live in a mansion. Nobody ever says, when I make it, I want to live in a townhouse or a little condo, that's not on the ocean. And right. So we settle. The younger you are, the more open you are. You got all these big goals, big dreams, big non-negotiables. And then what happens is you grow up and the world smacks you down, smacks you down, and smacks you down. Rather than getting your ass back up and getting to work and learning off of all the defeats. Everybody has defeats. I had them, Bill had them, Art Williams had them, Bobby Buisson had them, Hector Lamarck had them, Jimmy Meyer had them, Keith Otter, all of us had defeats. We learn off of every defeat and we get better and we grow from it. It makes us stronger, not weaker. If you got the wrong mentality, every defeat makes you weaker. Every defeat breaks you down. For us, it's like it makes us stronger. We want to get better. We want to work harder. We're going to learn off everything we did wrong. Look, I ain't nowhere near perfect, neither's Bill, but I bet you we're way better than we were 20 years ago and 5 years ago because of all the stuff we've gone through and we've learned and we've used it as fuel versus, Honda makes a really good, reliable car. That Honda Accord I hear, it could go 200,000 miles. I'm thinking, who the hell would want a car that goes 200,000 miles? Because the minute the new car smell is gone, I want a new car. Those were my non-negotiables, right? Everybody had non-negotiables. Those were mine, right? I wanted to make sure that I could travel. Like Hector always used to say, I want to live like I'm on vacation every day. That was his non-negotiable. I'm flying to Hector's tomorrow. Me, Danielle, and Olivia, we're flying to Hector's. Hector lives in a place called Quinceria in Los Cabos. It's probably the most high-end place you could live in Cabo. We went last year. We had a great time. He lives like he's on vacation every day of his life. He lives at a resort. I live at a resort. My place where I live is Parkland Golf and Country Club. It is a resort. We have a spa. We've got restaurants. We've got golf, pickleball, tennis, gym, yoga, Pilates. We've got anything you want to do. Those were all non-negotiables. I was not going to live a mediocre life. I watched my dad have a job. He had a union job. And I watched every couple years, there was the big worry. The strike might come. The union might strike. And what are we going to do if and I remember that as a kid because there was arguments at the house. The stress was high. The pressure was high. And I remember once a month when my dad was writing the bills at the dining room table. I remember you walked in that day, you were walking on eggshells because he was stressed. Look, there's a lot of heads nodding yes, because their house was exactly like that. And I didn't want that. I wanted to make sure when I'm doing the bills, I'm cracking jokes with the kids. And like last night, I was writing bills because we're leaving on vacation. And I was like, here, extra $100 for you, extra $100 for you, extra $100 for you, right? Because I want to be happy. I don't know. Non-negotiable is happy. Happy is freedom. Happy is choices. I don't know. Happy is no debt. I had $28,000 in credit card debt. Doesn't look like a lot of money, but at the time, 30 years ago, that was a lot of money to me to be in debt. And man, I can't wait till I get out of debt, man. When I made that last payment, I was so happy. I never wrote another credit card again, ever. I don't know. I had a lot of non-negotiables, Bill. You had them too, I'm sure. I had a Rolex collection non-negotiable. I didn't want one Rolex. I said anybody could get one Rolex. I want like 8. I want a whole collection. I want 2 presidentials. I want a gold presidential and a white gold presidential. Here's my white gold presidential, by the way. But I wanted a yellow gold presidential and a white gold presidential. I wanted a all gold Submariner blue dial. I wanted a Daytona. I wanted a Skydweller. I wanted one of each. I wanted a Yachtmaster. You open my closet, they're all there. I get to look at that every day. It might be stupid to you. It might not inspire and motivate you, and that's okay. But what motivates you? What are your non-negotiables? What do you want? Most people don't know what they want, Bill. That's the problem.
Well, they associate, he says in here, monkey see, monkey do. And so much of it, who you associate with. And the thing I love about this day and age that allows people, I read books on my cell phone, and I'm walking around with a book constantly because it's in my cell phone. I'm at a doctor's office, have 10 minutes, I start reading my book. And what are the books about? Money. Not money accumulation, but Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. The Wealth Choice. I love that stuff because it keeps me sharp. The second thing is, you can be in your car driving from one place to another, get on YouTube and pull up Napoleon Hill or pull up any of these people that are money focused, and they'll teach you and train you the mindset you have to have. When I work out, I'm listening to Napoleon Hill, and I'm gravitating to that mindset. Talk about that, Omar, how if you wanted to learn Spanish, move to Mexico or only listen to Hispanic radio stations, TV stations, read only Spanish books. See, the point is, you want to get wealthy, immerse yourself in the mindset of wealth thinking. And again, it's all at our disposal. We don't have to wonder. I remember in the old days, I'd have to get a tape, listen to thousands of hours of a guy named Earl Nightingale. Yeah. Thousands of hours driving in the car. And I'd have to go out and buy a book and have the book. But now it's on my cell phone. I can drive my car like I will today, and I'm going to listen to Napoleon Hill. Or I can listen to excerpts from The Wealth Choice from Dennis Kimbro. Talk about that, Omar, and that obsession and that saturating your mind with the wealth mindset. Again, Think and Grow Rich. Unless you will have a money consciousness, a poverty consciousness will take over. So you don't have in between. You either have a wealth consciousness or a poverty struggling. There's not enough to go around. Talk about that, Omar.
It's like your health and your weight, right? So this is an area that I've struggled with. This is the only reason I can relate to people that are not wealthy, because I know it's not easy to make the change, to reprogram your brain. I know it's not. So whenever I'm locked in on exercising and eating good, and I lose weight. I mean, last year I lost 62 pounds, feeling great. If I would have kept going, I'd probably be down 100 pounds a day. You wouldn't recognize me, right? What happens? You get off track. Your habits revert. They go back to because you haven't done it long enough to create the new habit. Don't listen to that bull crap about 21 days creates a new habit. I call bull crap on that. It's a lot longer than 21 days because when I've lost weight, I did it for like 5 months and I lost 62 pounds. And the minute football season came around and I was tailgating every weekend at the Hurricane games and at the Dolphin games and traveling to away games and then the busy part of the year, the business year starts and I'm eating out at dinners and I'm invited to dinners and I forget everything I was doing. And then I look up 6 months later and I go, damn it, 50 pounds came back, right? And so it's how I relate to the people in my business that aren't big. I watch them do things temporarily and they start getting just a little bit results and they stop. So you might be reading the right books and listening to the right people and doing all the right things, but then your boy comes over who's your buddy for a lot of years and you start hanging out with that loser again and he starts reprogramming you back. It's like if you've ever gone to get crabs out of the ocean in Florida here, in the Keys, you could go down and there's crabs. You just get them, put them in a bucket and you have a huge bucket and you start loading them up with crabs. And eventually, like one crab, he says, I want to get the hell out of here. I don't want them eating me. So he starts climbing over the other crabs. And right when he's ready to get his claw on that lip where he could pull over one of the other crabs, nope, takes him down, right? That's like you people that aren't wealthy or you don't have the wealth mentality, right? You might be doing all the right things and then you start watching the wrong media. Or you start wasting time on TikTok or I don't know what bullshit you guys do, but whatever it is you're doing, it takes you back. And then when you're back, it's comfortable because that's your comfort zone. And so when you're like when I'm eating, the last 5 weeks now, I've lost 15 pounds in the last 5 weeks. I've been lifting weights. I've been walking. I've been eating my 180 grams of protein. It's a lot of work to do all that stuff and be aware of it. Eventually it won't be if I do it long enough. I've learned it's not 5 months because I've done it 5 months, 6 months, many times, and I revert. So now this time I'm like, all right, I'm going to see if I can stay on it a year. Maybe a year will create the habits. I don't know. I have to see. I don't know. It's different for everybody. For every one of you guys, depending on how your mind is wired, it will take a different amount of time to do the right things continuously and avoid the wrong things continuously so that you change your mentality. So you reprogram your brain. So, I don't hang out with broke people. Now, broke is poor people. Poor people. But what is that word? Broke is temporary. Poor is a mentality. So I don't hang out with poor people. I could hang out with broke people. I could recruit a new guy that's broke. And as long as he's telling me and doing what I'm telling him to do, it tells me that he's willing to change and grow and develop. And I can help bring him up. But I don't hang out with anybody that's one of those claws that'll pull me down. I just don't. Now, I did early on. When I crossed $100,000, I thought I was the man. And I started hanging out with all my old buddies, to rub it in. Bill, hey, I make 100,000. I make 100,000. Then I started hanging out with them. And the next year, I made 80,000. So I went backwards. And whoa, I need to quit hanging out with those people. You might think, well, well, I don't want to stop hanging out with my friends. Well, then stay broke, because you will be the equivalent of the five people you hang around the most. Just is what it is.
Well, talk about this. Harv Eker talks about having a millionaire mindset, secrets of the millionaire mindset. And he said there's a difference between having a goal and having a declaration. Instead of, my goal is to become a millionaire, he wants you to say, I am a millionaire. I remember driving down the road saying, I'm a millionaire. I'm earning $100,000 a month. I'm earning $1 million a year. Driving out, and for, 40 years before I went to bed at night. And when I woke up in the morning, the first mindset I had, Think and Grow Rich, page 72 in my Think and Grow Rich, my goal is to make X number of dollars a year. My faith is so strong, I can now see the money before my eyes. I can touch it. I can feel it. I possess it. It awaits transfer to me at the time or proportion I deliver the service I intend to render in return for it, and I would name the service of recruiting and building and creating clients and RVPs. I'm awaiting a plan to obtain that goal, and I'll follow that plan when it is received. At night and in the morning, he tells you to do that. And what that does is, it creates new neural pathways. So you think about a field, and in that field, it's grass. But you move on and you see a pathway where the grass isn't there. It's been worn down by people walking along the path. That's a neural pathway, and your life has been programmed with neural pathways put in there by parents, school systems,
teachers, coaches, all those people.
You got to create new neural pathways and you got to do it verbally. You got to say it out loud. You got to drive down the road. You got to be saying before you go to bed at night, when you wake up in the morning. Every meeting I go to, guess what I do? I rewrite my goals. The purpose of me going to get bigger, go home in a week or so, I'm going to rewrite my goals over a 2-day period numerous times. Talk about that, Omar, and how you got to program your mind for wealth.
Well, I would tell you, when I hear the terms neuro pathways and all that, I'm just not that smart to understand that. So
wait. Understand that, Omar. We understand that.
No. Watch. So I don't understand it, but I explain it, and it means the exact thing. It's just your brain is a big computer, and it's got a program written in it. And when you're a child, you're not programming your own brain. Everybody else is programming your brain. And so now when you're an adult, you have to hit Control Alt Delete. You got to crash your system, and you got to create those new programs in your computer. So how you do it is you talk as if it's already happened. That's why I used to go to Value Rent-A-Car and rent the Lincoln Town Car, because when I went on appointments, in my mind, I'm rich already. I'm driving a Lincoln Town Car. I'm driving a $50,000 luxury vehicle with leather interior in my mind, right? So I used to think I'm a millionaire. I'm a multimillionaire. When I wasn't, I'm a decamillionaire. I used to talk about I'm going to be a decamillionaire. People would ask me, what's a decamillionaire? I said, deca means you got over $10 million. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm going to be a decamillionaire. So I used to talk it into existence. People used to call it bragging. Why are you bragging, Omar? Why are you bragging about what you're going to do? I ain't bragging, and I don't really care what you think. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me, because your brain doesn't know what reality is. So you tell it enough times. It's like the story that evolved as a child. You might tell a story that you've been telling for 25 years, and one day your wife tells you, honey, you know that really never happened, right? You're like, of course it did. I've been telling that story for 25. No, this is what really happened. And your wife corrects you privately. And you're like, what? Are you crazy? She said, no, you created that in your mind. You've been telling it for 25 years wrong. I just let you tell it wrong. I said, well, good. Keep letting me tell it wrong because I like my story better. So you create this. I mean, I don't know how many times, Bill, people say, oh, stop bragging about what you're going to do. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to me. I'm telling myself what I'm going to do because your subconscious mind will eventually believe it. When it believes it, you're unstoppable. So like now I'm trying to do it with like the whole working out and eating good thing. In my mind, Bill, I am a lean, mean, 180-pound machine right now, okay? I'm walking around strutting like I'm that guy. Now, I know I ain't that guy right now, but I'm that guy in my mind, right? And if I keep telling myself, I'll start eating the way a lean, mean, 180-pound machine starts eating. I'll start working out like a lean, mean, 180-pound machine. And it's the exact concept that we're talking about here. And I've done it in Primerica and I've done it with money, but I've not done it with that for whatever reason. Drives me crazy, really drives me effing nuts. But it's like these guys that are all telling you, it drives me nuts that I'm not rich. It drives me nuts that I'm not rich. It's because you don't change. You don't make a conscious effort on a daily basis that's long-term enough to change the way you really think. It's all it is. It's a decision.
It's much like if you want to lose weight, when you go to a restaurant, you can't look at the menu. You already got to know what you're going to eat. Right. Don't even look at the menu because that starts creating, oh my gosh, I really don't know. When I go in a Mexican food restaurant, I don't even think I'm eating a taco salad.
Right.
That stuff is so fattening. But he also talks about in there, rich people are totally clear that they want wealth. They are unwavering in their desire. They are fully committed to creating and being wealthy. Omar?
Tell me that again. I'm sorry.
Rich people are totally clear that they want wealth. They are unwavering in their desire. They are fully committed to creating wealth. It's an obsession.
Yeah, we just won't tolerate. Like when I was living in an apartment and I was making $800,000 a year, I didn't go buy the house because I was totally obsessed with becoming a multi-millionaire cash. So I didn't spend money. 800,000, I lived on 200 grand a year. That was my office and my living expenses. I know you're thinking, well, 200 grand a year. I wish I could make 200 grand a year. But if you're making 800,000 and you're living on 200,000 and then you're paying taxes on another 200,000, I was investing 400 grand a year, half of my income, because I was obsessed with a crystal clear goal. I wanted to know what it's like to become a multi-millionaire. Like I could log online, I could let you look at my accounts, and I had more than $2 million saved. Then when I got there, I got obsessed. 5 million. I want to get to $5 million. Then when I got to 5 million, Art Williams tells me, 5 million just isn't what it used to be, Omar. Son of a gun. So I was like, all right, 10 million, decamillion. And now my next one's 25 million. I'm at 19 million. I want to get to 25 million because 25 million is pretty powerful, right, Bill? I have to look up what that's called. But Bill's looking at me like 25. Oh, young laddie. I remember the days when I only had $25 million when I was way back your age. I look at Bill like I could be Bill Arender. You compound that 20 million out when I'm, what are you, 81 now? So, yes. So 61, 67, 73, 79, 20 million could be 40 million, 80 million, 160 million, 320 million plus. So I could have over $320 million when I'm Bill's age. So I have to live that long. That's why I'm on this workout kick. All my muscles. I did squats the other day, Bill. I did 25 squats, 3 sets each. I woke up the next morning. My body said, "What?" I mean, I used muscles I hadn't used in a long time. My butt was hurting. My hamstrings were hurting. My quad. I had muscles I didn't even know that I had were hurting me.
He says in here there are 3 levels of wanting. First level is I want to be rich. Second level, I choose to be rich. Third level, I commit to being rich.
First level's a wish. Everybody wants to be rich. I haven't met anybody says, well, I mean, I ask you, do you want to win the lottery? Hell yeah. Well, then you want to be rich. That means nothing. Everybody wants to be rich. The next level is you might really be thinking about it. Like you might want it. But that third level, I commit to being rich. That's the all in. It's like when you get married. I committed to marrying my wife. I committed to, life or death, till death do us part. We've been together 25 years, and I'm sure there's years where my wife wished I was dead so she could do the death do us part thing. But commitment is another level at everything. You love your kids, you commit to your kids, you do anything for your kids. So if you commit to being wealthy, it's really serious. It's game on.
And he says in here, commitment. To devote oneself unreservedly to being wealthy. And he said, the definition of commitment is to devote oneself unreservedly. The word unreservedly means you're putting everything, and I mean everything you've got into it, getting wealthy. I tell people, we had a guy on named Ron Weber. Do you know Ron?
Yeah, I know Ron.
Well, he did this talk about a month ago for us about the Dow going to 150,000 in the next 6 to 10 years. And he went and explained why he believes. Now, why did I have him on? For gosh sakes, Professor Bob, get to work in the next 2 years. Get yourself $250,000 in the next 2 years saved, and let the thing triple in the next 5 or 6 years. That's how we got wealthy. We put our money, you know how many people I told to buy company stock 15, 16 years ago, but they didn't work hard enough.
I told them all the exact same thing.
Work, please, do it. You know how many people I talked about the wall of wealth? It's coming. Get as many people recruited as you can. They didn't do it. So that's why I had him on. Again, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to work hard enough, long enough. I'm going to have 15 appointments a week. 15 appointments a week until I'm a millionaire. And then I can back off to 14 appointments a week. Talk about that, Omar. Unreservedly commitment, where you don't back off when you say you're going to do something, Omar.
I mean, it's why I still work. Because if I wasn't unreservedly committed to becoming now, people will tell you I'm wealthy. You got $19 million, you got a $2 million a year income, you're wealthy. I'm not wealthy enough. If I was wealthy enough, I wouldn't keep running my base shop and trying to promote new RVPs and doing all the work that I do. So I'm still committed, but there's a time in your career, and I tell everybody this, that you've got to be entrenched in your business. You are entrenched in it. Like nothing else obviously than God and your wife and kids. Nothing else matters. So your nephew's having a birthday party, you ain't going because you got appointments. So your wife's class reunion is going, honey, you go. You have a good time. I ain't going. I got appointments, right? And then I remember they used to tell Danielle, oh, honey, is Omar working again today? And my wife would go to a party with Brady and Olivia, and I was out working, and Danielle's, Omar working again? Yes, he is working, building our business. Today, you know what they go, does Omar ever work? I'm like, I work all the time, but I'm just a master at making it look like I don't work. But I work all the time. I'm like that duck that's gliding across the lake. You look so calm on the top, but underneath his little legs are kicking 100 miles an hour and he's going, right? So I love to work. That's another thing. You got to tell yourself and train your brain. I love to work. I love to change people's lives. I love to recruit people. I love to grow my business. You know what everybody tells themselves? I have to recruit. I gotta really have to recruit. Oh my God. I have to build my base. What have you ever done in your life that you've told yourself you have to do? Nothing. Because if you're telling yourself that you have to do it, it's because you don't want to do it. Because if you want to do it, you're going to use lingo like I get to do it. You know, I'm lucky because I have the chance to do it. It's all talking to yourself. We all talk. If I use this line all the time, if anybody else talked to you the way you talk to you, you'd smack them.
That's right.
Think about it, right? So you got to learn to love yourself. And, you know, you're conceited, you're cocky. I don't care what anybody thinks. I could care less. I know I'm not. I know all that I have, Jesus Christ has blessed me with, and he can take it away anytime he wants. And the minute that I am not deserving of it, it will be taken. But I do know this. I've got to be the best Omar that I can be. In order to do that, I got to talk positively. I have to be committed to whatever it is that I'm committed to. So I was committed to getting wealthy. I'm still committed to getting wealthy. I mean, Bill, I want to know what it's like, you know, when you crossed $100 million, right? What was that like? That's like not 7 digits. That's not 8 digits. That's 9 digits. If you got $100 million, you got 8 zeros and a 1. That's a lot, right? I mean, am I right? 6, 7, 8 zeros, right? $100 million. I got to write that out. That's a lot of zeros. Let me just check that. $100 million. It's a lot of zeros. That's all I know.
There was a guy in California that stood up in one of the meetings, and it was wonderful. And he said, my family, they got a young family and they got a big family and lived in that area. And it's same way with him. Every time, where's your husband? He's working. Because all he does is work. Why doesn't he come to family events? Why doesn't he do this? He's always working. Has he got his priorities straight? It's not right that he should be working and he's missing out on all the best times of his life. And you know what he said to his wife?
What?
Give me about 2 or 3 years. And we're going to start having family events. But we're going to do it on a Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and see how many of your relatives show up at 1 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. You know what they're going to say? I can't come. I've got to work.
Yep. It's like when I play golf, whenever anybody wants to play golf with me, they call me, hey, can we play golf this weekend? No, that's when poor people play golf. If you want to play golf with me, we're going to play on Wednesday, Thursday, when nobody's on the golf course and everybody's at work, and it's like we have our own private golf course. That's when I'm playing golf. Like when I'm out there with Hector, we ain't playing golf on the weekend. We're going to play Wednesday, Thursday. Now, granted, over there, but his club costs like $250,000 to join. Nobody's out there. It's empty. Nobody's rushing us. Nobody's telling you, hey, you're slowing down the pace of play. Nobody tells you that there.
And everybody's first name is Mr.
That's right.
He says here, are you willing to work 16 hours a day? Rich people are. Are you willing to work 7 days a week and give up most of your weekends? Rich people are. Are you willing to sacrifice seeing your family, friends, and give up your recreation and hobbies? Rich people are. Are you willing to risk all your time, energy, and startup capital with no guarantee of returns? Rich people are. And I would like that for a period of time.
I was just going to say that.
Talk about that, Omar.
I was just going to add that. Rich people are willing to do that for a period of time. You don't have to do it forever. I was with Rick Susie. You know, Rick lives here now, Bill. He's about 20-minute drive away from me, and we're good buddies, and we hang out. And, you know, he told me 5 years was all he worked. He joined the company. In year 1, he made almost $250,000. After 5 years, he was doing $600,000 a month in premium. $600,000 100 grand. That was probably 1,100 life apps a month in those days, maybe more. He says, Omar, I never worked again. I've been enjoying my life for the last 40. He just turned 72 years young last month. He looks great. He's has his, little boyish charm. My wife loves him. She's like, he's like a little grandpa, but he's like really nice and sweet. Now you probably remember the old hard ass Rick Susie getting up there, blowing and going at the meetings. But that was only for a period of time. If you listen to Hector's audios from the early days, he's got that high-pitched voice, but he's yelling and screaming. Blah, blah. You're with Hector now. He's the most calm, cool, chilled guy, because we only got to do it for a period of time. You guys that don't get wealthy, you got to work forever. To me, and I explain this to everybody, I go, a real lazy person, because everybody says, I'm just lazy. Okay, if you're really lazy, then you'll work your butt off 5 years so you can screw off for the rest of your life. That's real lazy, right? So if you're telling me you're lazy and you're just working enough and you're going to have to work like that 40, 50 years, then I would challenge you that you're not lazy. You're not very bright, but you're not lazy.
I comment on this. I believe that all of us have 80% of what we have because of 2 years worth of work. 80%. 2 years. Yeah, he worked for 5 years, but for 2 years, he got it going and continued to work for another 3 years. But if you commit 2 years of your life, I stopped playing golf back then. I didn't play tennis. I taught Sunday school every Sunday. I never missed church. My family and I worked. I worked 6 days a week for 8 years because I had become an RVP for 4, moved to Dallas, another 4 years, but 2 years of it, that's the precious time. 2 years, and then the next 2 years, multiply that. Talk about that. It's going to take 2 years. Think about that. Are you willing to work for 2 years?
And it depends where you're at. Right? It depends where you're at. Because if you're a new recruit, you're going to have to work longer than 2 years because you have to get to RVP first, and then you got to work as an RVP. But okay, so if it takes you 2 years to get to RVP and 2 years of working your butt off to lay the groundwork, and then you just happen to work the extra couple years, it all happened in that period of time. And here's the crazy part. People think it's exhausting and it's tiring and it's grueling, and that's why they don't do it. And they're 100% wrong. It's exhausting and grueling for about 120 days as you're creating the momentum. Once you get into that rhythm and that momentum, the 5 years flew by. Like I woke up one day and I'm like, I got a hierarchy. Holy crap, I'm making $50,000 a month 5 years later. So, it goes by so fast. And it's enjoyable. And the relationships that you build with the people that are doing it with you. Wayne Luke has worked with me for 29 years. Rick's worked with me for 25 years. PJ for 25 years. Joe Ortiz for 28 years. Evelyn for 23, 24 years. I could go on and on and on. These are people that become like you related to you. They're your family. You don't get to choose your cousins and your brothers and sisters, but you get to choose those that you build a business with. And I can tell you, if you just got over, and I'm sure it's like that with working out, like right now, right? Every day, Bill, it takes a lot of energy to get me to the gym. But once I'm there, I do my deal. The next morning, I hurt all over. But if I did that for 120 days, it wouldn't hurt. It would be easier to do. So it's the exact thing. It's just a mind thing. Like I'm looking at Stu Ellen Trigg. That's the name. She's been nodding her head the whole time. Like you better watch out because you might get whiplash. She's been nodding your head so much. but I want you to start doing these things. And Bob Gebhard, he been nodding his head, right? Larry Kirstein's been nodding his head. Sherry Larson's been nodding. Tony's always nodding her head, right? Guys, me and Bill been doing. Now, Bill told me when Bill recruited me, we were only going to do this 6 months. He lied to me, okay? Because I don't know how long we've been doing it, but it's been a hell of a lot more than 6 months. But have you changed any? Are you better off for it? Now, me and Bill would still have these talks anyway. So whether we do it on Zoom or over the telephone, it doesn't really matter to me. But come on, it's time to change.
Well, I saw him yesterday because I was in Dallas. I've had a personal trainer, the same one for 34 years. Again, when you have a personal trainer, I mean, that's my commitment. I'm going to see him. I'm going to wear him out. Again, when you start, get a personal trainer. Well, I can't afford it. You see what happens? I can't afford it. You get a personal trainer, get your butt in the gym. That's where it starts. Get yourself a Bible study, and you stick to it. Bob and I and Tony, we are on a Bible study one every week. We've been doing the same Bible study since 1982.
Wow.
It was on Zoom. So it's been 34 years, same Bible study, or 44 years. And did it with Josh.
When is it, Bill?
Every Tuesday, 11 o'clock your time. Every Tuesday, the same Zoom number.
You've been doing that since 1982?
Correct.
Wow.
We did it in McDonald's. We did it in offices. Again, a lot of people came and gone. And eventually, when COVID hit, we stopped doing it at McDonald's. And we started going on to Zoom. And we've been doing it on Zoom ever since.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you 2 quick things. 2 schools that we're waiting on listening to is Texas Christian University, which is in Dallas, TCU, and I believe it's called North Texas State, because they have this really big like musical theater program that's well respected. So you never know. I just might be flying to Dallas a whole lot. You never know. It all depends where Olivia goes.
I'm going to Fort Worth this afternoon. My daughter lives 2 blocks from TCU, and Josh lives 4 blocks from TCU, Josh Huffman. Yeah. Omar, talk about this last part. When you make up, it's a power of a made-up mind. When you make up your mind to get wealthy, think of all the blessings that God wants you wealthy. I love what Rabbi Lapin talks about. He hates the term, they're giving back. They got wealthy, now they're giving back. Because that term came from the pirates who robbed and stole, and now they got religion when they got older and gave all that money back to the churches that built Europe. And he said, no. Omar, think about the value you brought. How many death claims you paid? I don't know, 10, 12,000. How many clients you have? At least 250,000 clients that have invested with you. Mm-hmm. Look at all the RVPs. You've changed their lives. So yes, when you decide to get wealthy, you have to change lives. Talk about that, Omar, and we'll let everyone go.
I mean, at this point of my career, that's what drives me more than anything. I mean, I love making money, don't get me wrong, but I love helping people change their lives. To me, when I watch a new person cross a ring or get promoted RVP, I get so emotional because I go back and I remember what it was like when I did it, and the hopes that I had and the dreams that I had. And I could see that in every new recruit that we get. That's a key, is looking at every new recruit that way. Like that is a skill. You cannot be jaded by what other recruits did, whether they quit, they didn't make it. You can't think, well, the next one won't make it. The next one, what if the next one's Omar Oropesa? What if the next one's Bill Orender, right? What if the next one's Virginia Carter? You just don't know. So you better be like Art Williams was a master at that. He would look at her, he would make you feel special, and he believed it. And I bet you there was a point where he didn't do it anymore for the money because he was already wealthy. He did it to change people's lives. When I die one day, Okay. Hopefully it's in a long time, but whenever the Lord wants me, I'll be going. I want people at my funeral to talk about he changed my life. He changed my life. Bill Orender, you changed my life, buddy. You have changed my life. In all the years that I've known you, you have stretched my vision. You've planted seeds. You've invested in me. I hope you live another 25, 30 years. The Bible says 120. But I'll tell you what, when you're gone, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be telling everybody you changed my life.
Thank you very much, Omar. You're a great, great friend. And let me just point one thing out. The greatest gift that God ever gave us is death. Because now you'll have eternal life. Ain't that amazing?
Amen.
Even that's a gift. Now we have eternal life. And so our next meeting, Money Quest, is April the 24th. And then we're going to go on May 15th. So April the 24th and then May 15th. Thank you very much, everyone. Tony, thanks for your help today, as always, getting everything organized. Omar, I'm going to call you in a few minutes because we're going out to California too, spring break.
Oh, are you?
Los Angeles.
Okay, well, we might run into each other.
I'll call you in a few minutes. All right,
Okay.
everyone. God bless.
All right.